So you know that we very recently joined the MHM Alliance because we think it's a very, very big piece of work. Unfortunately, we didn't have a very clear strategy, but we've done a very big study, landscape study. I think a group like this event brings together important stakeholders from NGOs, from foundations and donors like us, from the private sector, which is very important, and also from the government. So all of the key stakeholders are represented today in this room. And these kind of convenings are good because although it seems like we all know each other and know some of the issues, it's also very good for bringing together different perspectives. So we want to understand what the private sector, for instance, sees as big opportunities and what are their constraints. Government should listen to what NGOs are seeing in the field, listening to stories, personal stories. I think those were very important. What I really liked about it is that people all framed this in their own personal story. So that's the important thing to know about menstruation. It affects all of us, regardless of where we are in our position of privilege. We may have access to products, but I think at every point, everyone has faced some sort of bias or the other, whether it was in school, whether it was at home, whether it's in the general public, and face the constraints of not having adequate infrastructure to deal with it. So I remember, going, as soon as you know that you've got your periods, you actually run home. Whatever you're doing, whether you're at the workplace, whether you're in school, whether you're in college, wherever you are, whether you're out shopping, because there is no infrastructure. There's not a place, safe space for me to go and find a place to change and to use sanitary napkins or at least have them accessible. So all of those issues affect all of us, and I was really happy that everyone came from a very personal space at this event to share their perspectives. I think having a great gender balance is very important. So I think the organizers were very cognizant of that, because this is definitely not a woman's problem. It's not even a social problem, I would say. It's a social part of growing up for a girl, and for every woman it's part of their life. As long as men accept that, it'll be as easy as accessing one medicine for a headache. You have a headache today and you have your periods tomorrow. That's how normal it should be. And hopefully these kind of conversations will emanate and go out into the world more like that. As I said, I think a big call to action today should be that we need to increase the access of these products. It's really shameful that only 15%, in the most optimistic, of girls have access to safe sanitation products for menstrual management. So that's a shame. That's a shameful statistic for any country to have. When 50% of your population is women, you don't take care of them, and only 15% of them have access to sanitation, or to menstrual hygiene products. So the number one thing is to reduce the constraints, the barriers towards that, increasing that access. And if reducing this 15% tax is, I think, the number one thing that we need to focus on, because the cost is prohibitively expensive. This is something that should be treated like any normal product that you have. It's a social product. It needs to have no tax. In fact, they need to enable access. So not only by making it available free, but making it available through market forces is very important. And for that, you need to reduce or actually waive the tax completely. So I think government has a big role to play, both in making sure that the supply chains carry on for all of their programs where they have to distribute free sanitary napkins. They should be of better quality than we heard Poonam talk about the really bad quality of the Chinese products, not because they're Chinese, but because the products were low cost and not really high quality, which caused a lot of residual problems to girls. And once you have experience with the bad product, you never want to use sanitary napkins again. It takes it away from the whole range of products. You can't then convince them to start using safe products again, so they'll go back to using hay, straw, whatever else that they were using, which are also equally unhygienic. So government has a huge role to play in ensuring standards, in ensuring product accessibility, and if price is a barrier, to take away any of those that are in its control. And in this case, of course, that 12.5% tax is in its control. Yeah. I think it's also very important that they press upon companies to make these cheaper products. Where are all the price upgrades that people are charging? And if you can use the government infrastructure to distribute this cheaply like you do for contraceptives, why can't you do this for sanitary napkins? So access is a huge problem, and that 15% statistic should be something that government should hang their heads in shame at. Yeah, I think it's really important.